Hello, my name is Maria Cepeda and I will be discussing activism in Russia, its challenges, and its risks. Activism and grassroots movements have paved the way for progress throughout history. It is a way to stand up to government or institutions that have failed the people. Activism can take various forms. It can be done through critical journalism or demonstrations like sit ins or protests. To understand why people actively challenge the government and certain institutions, it is necessary to address the political and social backdrop of an area or region. Let's consider Russia, for example. After the collapse of the Soviet Union after World War I, Russia became increasingly defensive and was determined to reject any Western influence. This pattern continues under Vladimir Putin's leadership. Under Putin, Russia has become what some consider a police state that seeks extensive control over the state and its people. Factors like declining population, shrinking job markets, or the government's high military spending have sparked protests in the past, but an issue that has gained international attention recently is the passing of anti-gay laws. Some have responded with protests, like these Moscow activists that held a demonstration to protest the anti-gay laws that have resulted in the attacks and death of gay folk, like the following.
May 9th into the early hours of May 10th, investigators say a group of men were drinking in a courtyard at an apartment complex in the outskirts of the southern Russian city of Volgograd. Now, they were celebrating Victory Day on that Thursday. They anniversary, the 68th anniversary, in fact, of the defeat of Nazi Germany in the Second World War. But that joy turned into tragedy. Now, it is alleged that one of the men named as 23-year-old Vladislav Chernovoy by gay activists, he admitted to being gay after being questioned by the men. Now, that started a frenzied attack on him when a 20-kilogram rock, I should say, was launched at his head. It made contact. It's also believed that he was raped by beer bottles. Men used that to do that, and also that they attempted to set him on fire, which was all in all an absolutely tragic and fatal attack.
General opposition to Putin also sparks protests in Russia. The most recent occurred in Moscow on Sunday, where at least 260 people were arrested for protesting against President Vladimir Putin. Russia maintains control over opposition through media. Take, for instance, television. The three main networks are either controlled directly by the state or can be linked by private ownership that has close ties with the Kremlin, as reported by BBC. This filtering of media has been criticized as it is said to be misinforming the Russian audience. As mentioned by Katie E. Pierce, a traditional tool of authoritarian social control has evolved to fit transnational activism and the social media era. Russia is doing this through the laws that have passed in 2012, like the Foreign Agents Law, that requires groups that receive foreign aid and participate in political activities to register as foreign agents, which labels them as traitors and spies in Russian culture. Anti-extremist laws now allow authorities to block websites for extremism without a court order, which is an easy way to censor information from political opposition groups. As a result, internet users have increasingly found themselves the target of criminal prosecution for their online activity. While these prove to be challenges to activism, some activists and Russian journalists run the risk of attack and even murder if they dig deep into sensitive subjects. The Washington Post recently compiled a list of 10 critics of Vladimir Putin who died violently or in mysterious ways. Some criticized Putin, some were investigating corruption, and others organized massive protests against Putin. So what is being done? One activist group is Agora Association, one of Russia's leading human rights organizations that works on human right violation cases in Russia. There are other organizations like the Committee to Protect Journalists that works to expose countries that are interfering with the freedom of media and exposing those who are threatening the press. While there are organizations and countries alike that are taking part in condemning Russia's actions, there is no change visibly seen. Russia continues to block the opposition's influence.